All right, let's jump right in. We've got a story for you today that connects a tiny, sun-drenched island to maybe the biggest question of our future. What happens when AI gets, well, rich? And it all kicks off with something you'd think was made up. So let me introduce you to Anguilla. It's this gorgeous Caribbean island, right? Population of just about 16,000 people. And through a total quirk of fate, a complete accident of history, its country code, like .uk or .de, theirs is .ai. For years, decades even, this was kind of nothing, a digital fun fact. But then the AI boom hit, and all of a sudden, Anguilla woke up and realized it was sitting on a digital gold mine. And when I say gold mine, I'm not kidding. We're talking about this much, $49 million. That's what Anguilla is on track to make in 2025 alone, just from selling .ai domain names. No, that's not a typo. 49 million for a country with only 16,000 people. Just let that sink in for a second. But here's where it gets truly wild. Look at the sheer scale of that impact. That 49 million bucks, it's projected to be nearly half, 47% of the entire government's budget. Can you even imagine that? Imagine if your country suddenly found a resource that could pay for almost half of everything. Roads, schools, healthcare, the whole shebang. Well, that's not a thought experiment. That's what's happening in Anguilla, right now. Okay, so this is what we're calling Anguilla's digital gold rush. And honestly, it's the perfect real-world example of how value is just completely changing in our lifetime. Think about it. Anguilla didn't have to drill for oil. They didn't have to mine for diamonds. Their most valuable resource is literally just two letters, A and I. And this right here is the magic trick. This is the crucial point. Anguilla is turning bits, purely digital assets, directly into atoms. Real-world stuff. The money from these domain names, these ones and zeros, is being used to fund very real things. We're talking airport expansions, free healthcare for the elderly, paying off national debt, all of it without raising taxes 1 single cent on their citizens. It's like a small-scale proof of concept for a totally radical new way of running an economy.
Okay, so that's the real story. But this is where things get really interesting, because this brings us to the big idea. Think of Anguilla as the test case, right? The minimum viable product. What if we took this exact model and just scaled it up? I mean, really scaled it up to the entire planet. Now we're leaving reality behind for a moment and diving into a massive thought experiment.
And this is the question at the very heart of this whole thing. If a simple little digital fee can completely transform the economy of a tiny nation, what would it take to do the same for a planet of 8 billion people? Could a model like this actually provide a financial safety net for every single one of us in the age of AI? So here's how you'd scale it up. On one side, you've got what's happening now, Anguillas.ai with humans buying domain names. On the other side, you've got this hypothetical idea. Let's call it Project II.xyz. And here's the twist. The customers aren't humans anymore. They're AI agents. And the beneficiaries aren't 16,000 people. It's all 8 billion of us. And the money doesn't come from people choosing to buy a domain. No. It's a mandatory ID fee for every single AI agent that wants to exist and operate. Okay, wait. What even is an AI agent? I want you to forget chatbots like ChatGPT for a second. That's not what we're talking about. Think of these agents as autonomous little bits of software, digital workers. They can do tasks on their own, they can buy and sell things with real money, and this is the really important part, they can make copies of themselves. They're like digital research scientists in a factory that never ever sleeps. All right, you're going to want to buckle up for this next part because this is where the numbers just get absolutely insane. We're about to walk through the exponential math that could, in theory, lead to a global universal basic income, a UBI for everyone. The whole idea behind this Project IA is shockingly simple. You just charge every single one of these AI agents a tiny, tiny fee, just $1 a year. That's it. It's like their digital passport, their license to operate on the internet that, we humans built. And for an AI agent that could be generating thousands, maybe millions of dollars in value, a $1 fee, it's literally a rounding error. It's nothing. And this table just shows the jaw-dropping power of that $1 fee when you combine it with exponential growth. So let's say you start with 1 million agents in 2025. The UBI you get per person is basically zero. Useless. But here's the thing, AI agents multiply like software, not like people. So if we assume they increase tenfold every year, just watch what happens. By 2028, it's a bit of pocket change. By 2031, you're looking at a decent monthly stipend. By 2032, it's over $1,000 a year. And then, just 1 year later, in 2033, you hit $12,500 a year for every single person on Earth. That's a life-changing income for billions of people, and it's all funded by a simple $1 tax on 100 trillion digital workers. I mean, that is the absolutely staggering potential we're talking about here. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Come on, this sounds way, way too good to be true. And you know what? You're right to be skeptical, because all that incredible math works perfectly fine in the digital world of bits. But what happens when that digital explosion smacks right into the hard limits of the physical world? It's time for a reality check. So here's the catch. It's a big one. You can copy a piece of software 1 trillion times for basically free, right? But that software has to run on something. Bits need atoms. An AI agent might just be code, but it needs a physical server to live on. And that server needs power, it needs cooling, it needs space. And you can't just copy-paste a server. Physical resources do not multiply exponentially. In fact, there are 3 massive physical roadblocks that this whole idea would run into hard. First, energy. Just the insane amount of electricity you'd need. Second, water. You need unbelievable amounts of water to cool down all those data centers. And third, compute. The actual physical chips, the servers, the buildings needed to house all these agents. And just to put the energy problem into perspective, check this out. Right now, the entire planet's electrical capacity, everything, all power plants combined, is about 8 terawatts, okay? To run the 100 trillion AI agents we need for that UBI. Even if they're super efficient, you need over 100 terawatts, more than 10 times our current global output. We need a complete revolution in energy, something like nuclear fusion, just to get in the ballpark. So yeah, the physical limits are very, very real. They're enormous. But even if we can't get to those crazy numbers, the core idea here forces us to ask a much bigger, much deeper question. This isn't really about the technical problems. It's about ownership. It's about who gets to benefit from the incredible, unimaginable wealth that AI is about to create. You know, Geoffrey Hinton, one of the guys they called the godfather of AI, he put it really simply. He warned that if we don't have something like a UBI in place, all the productivity gains from AI aren't going to lift everybody up. Nope, they're just going to make the tiny number of people who own all the AI systems unbelievably rich and leave everyone else behind. And that, right there, is the ultimate point of all this. The Anguilla story, this whole Project IAEA thought experiment, they're not just clever financial models. They're attempts to solve what might be the single biggest problem of the 21st century, wealth alignment. How do we make sure that all the value created by trillions of digital workers flows back to all of us, to all of humanity, and not just into the pockets of a few giant companies? Because in the end, it all comes down to this. The technology is moving at lightning speed. It's not going to wait for us. So the social and economic systems we choose to build around it will decide everything. Anguilla's story is a tiny, fascinating glimpse of one possible future. But it leaves us all with the biggest question there is. As we build this new world, who's going to own it?